What's up, everybody? This is Nerd Plays, and as you guys can see on the screen, the Game Awards are right around the corner. The nominees are out. December 7th are the awards themselves, so I thought it would be fun to just go through the list and give my thoughts on at least most of the categories. Thought that would be something fun to do on the channel, so that's exactly what I'm going to be doing here today in this video. But for now, let me just get right into the nominees. Obviously, if you like this type of content, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I won't be doing every single category, but right now, these are the categories. So all this sports stuff, esports stuff, content creator, I have absolutely no knowledge of that stuff. So I'm going to start right here with most anticipated game. And let's just see. So most anticipated game, we got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, and Tekken 8. So Tekken, fighting game, I'm not really into fighting games, so that's not going to be mine. Star Wars Outlaws, I might have a hot take on this. I'm not sure exactly how everybody feels about this game, but what I've seen from this game, I actually don't think it looks good. I actually don't think that game is going to be that good. Hopefully they prove me wrong. So I'm not really excited about that one. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, the Yakuza series is a series that I wish so bad that I could just get into. I wish I could play these games, but they're too many games. They're all open world, so I'd rather not even start. So that's not going to be it. Hades 2 was a really great game, obviously beloved game, Game of the Year nomination, all that stuff. I think it won Best Narrative and among other things maybe, but I know I really enjoyed this game, but this is too niche of a category to win this. I think the obvious answer is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I think Final Fantasy VII Remake was so successful. People are very hyped for this upcoming sequel, and that's definitely my vote. So I'm gonna actually choose that one. All right. Next category, no, I don't like that it does that every time because I'm going backwards, so I have to go to previous category. All right, so the next category is Best Adaptation. All right, so it's Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, The Last of Us, the series, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and Twisted Metal. All right, so I haven't really seen most of these. I've only actually seen The Last of Us and the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I haven't heard a lot of talk about Twisted Metal, except from, oh, it's surprisingly good. It's better than it has any right to be. I heard nobody talk about Gran Turismo. I didn't even know that movie actually released yet. Castlevania Nocturne, that might be one. People, I know everybody absolutely loves that anime. I don't think the Super Mario Bros. Is gonna get it. It was commercially successful. It got bad reviews, but fans really like this. So I don't know how I feel about that. I think the winner is gonna be The Last of Us. That's gonna be my vote anyway, even though I didn't really love that series, but that's not going to be my vote nevertheless. Best multiplayer. All right, this is something that I really don't have a lot to say about. Party Animals, I know this is going to be underrated, but it's not gonna win because of that, because I don't think enough people played it. Street Fighter 6 has a chance, but it's also nominated for Best Fighting Game, so it might just win that one. Diablo 4 started off strong, has a lot of hate for the updates and the different changes that they've been doing. So the only ones that I know anything genuine about is Baldur's Gate 3, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It's interesting because Baldur's Gate 3, I think, out of this list, is clearly the best game here. But I don't think people associate it as a multiplayer game, even though it is a co-op experience. I don't think people associate it with that category. It's more of an RPG. In a specific type of RPG. So I think, man, this is tough. It is very tough. But I'm going to give my vote to Super Mario Bros. Wonder, even though people are criticizing specifically the multiplayer aspect of it. I'm not sure who's going to win here. That's going to be my vote. All right, Best Sports Racing. I don't have anything to say about that category. Best Sim Strategy. I also don't have anything to say about this category, but I'm going to give it, just for the sake of this video, to Pikmin 4. I think, but people absolutely love Advance Wars. So I think if I'm going to choose one, my prediction would be Advance Wars, but I think it'd be nice for Pikmin 4 to get it. Best Family Game, we got Disney Illusion Island. Party Animals, again, that's cool. That's 2 nominations. Pikmin 4, 2 nominations for that as well. Sonic Superstars, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. This is the strange thing, because let's read this. Family Game. Base Family Game is best for the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. This is the category that everybody calls the Nintendo category. So most likely a Nintendo game is going to win. Most likely it's going to be Super Mario Bros. Wonder. But the reason I say it's strange is because family games, to me, when I think of a family game, is a game that the family plays, right? So I just don't see many families sitting around the TV playing Pikmin 4, for example. I don't see many families playing an online game like Party Animals. I don't know. It's strange to me, but it's family oriented. I guess it's open to family. It's co-op. Anyway, I'm gonna give my vote to Mario Wonder. Let's go on here. Best fighting game. Again, I don't have anything to say here, but I think hands down Street Fighter 6 is gonna win. I think it's the best fighting game that came out this year. I don't think there's any competition there. Best RPG, again, no competition here, but this is another strange category. Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars, Starfield. This is a strange category because RPGs nowadays, essentially every game has RPG elements. So how do you exactly define an RPG nowadays? That's very controversial. Final Fantasy 16, there's a lot of people. One of the main criticisms of this game is that it's not a traditional RPG. It's more of an action game, or more specifically an action RPG. So people don't really consider it an RPG. Lies of P is something that, it's clearly an RPG, but I don't see it as an RPG. I see it also as an action game. Sea of Stars is what I think about when I think about RPGs. Baldur's Gate 3, that's what I think about when I think about RPGs, and even Starfield. So I think those three are really clear categories, but man, when you compare Baldur's Gate 3 to these games right here, it's just, they don't feel like they're on the same category. See, my heart would give it to Sea of Stars, because this is the type of game that I think about when I think about RPGs. But if we're giving it to an RPG that is the best game in this category, it has to be Baldur's Gate 3. That game is gonna win a lot of awards this year. Best action adventure game. Okay, Alan Wake 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I think this is gonna be the first year that we get, well, not the first year, but because of how big Breath of the Wild was, people expected Tears of the Kingdom to be equally big, and it was when it came out, but so many other games have come out since then that we didn't expect, that Tears of the Kingdom is rarely talked about anymore. I think Tears of the Kingdom is going to get quote-unquote snubbed for most of these categories this year. Best action adventure, if you had asked me a week ago which one would be my vote, I would have given it to Tears of the Kingdom. And that game, I was obsessed with this game when it came out. However, in this past week, I started playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor. And when I think action adventure, this is action adventure. Like there's no doubt about it. This is an adventure game through and through, and the action is so awesome. I'm only a few hours in, so that might change over time, but from what I played so far, this is 100% mine. I don't even consider Alan Wake 2 an action adventure game, even though it technically is. It's obviously a survival horror game, but whatever. Resident Evil 4, I have my qualms with that, with the fact that it's a remake and is being nominated for a few categories, but those are personal opinions. I think Star Wars Jedi Survivor. However, I think the winner might be... Man, this is tough. I was gonna say Marvel Spider-Man, but yeah, I think the winner's gonna be Marvel Spider-Man, but I'm gonna vote for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Best action game. See, this right here, I think Lies of P should be in this category. So Armored Core 6, Dead Island 2, Ghost Runner 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Remnant 2. I don't even have any knowledge of Remnant 2. I know people enjoyed it. Dead Island 2, I think people did not really enjoy that game. I think it was mixed. Like, people enjoyed it, but it's not what they were expecting after so long. Ghost Runner 2, I've seen videos, gameplay of this. That game is incredible. The action in this game, you're talking about the genre focused primarily on combat, there's nothing like that game right there. Like Ghost Runner 1 and 2, but Ghost Runner 2 specifically, there's nothing like that game out right now. So if that game wins, all respect to it. I'm very torn between Armored Core 6 and a Hi-Fi Rush. Armored Core, I'm a From Software fan. I really, really enjoyed that game. However, the reason I love that game so much is more because of the story, which is incredibly surprising for a From Soft game. Not because of how the action felt. So long story short, just because I don't want to be here for an hour, I'm going to give my vote to Hi-Fi Rush. That game is very, very fun. It is action oriented. So yeah, I think this game should get some type of recognition outside of the nominees this year. So I'm going to give it to, even though my heart says Armored Core, I'm going to give it to Hi-Fi Rush. Best VR, AR. All right. Here, I'm going to vote, even though I'm not a VR guy, But I'm gonna vote for one game here for a very specific reason. Let me just go through the list real quick. Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village, VR mode, Synapse. See, I have an issue with this. Again, these are just my takes. I might be completely wrong on this, but there's a few issues here that I have. Out of these games, I think only Horizon Call of the Mountain and Synapse are actual games made for VR. They're not VR modes like the Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil Village thing. These are actual full games that were made for VR. You can only play in VR. Whereas Gran Turismo 7, for example, even Humanity, Resident Evil Village, these are games that were even released without the VR mode, at least in the case of Resident Evil Village. I know that for sure. And then later on, this was added. So I have an issue with that. But, you know, that's just my personal thing. I might be completely wrong on that. That just might be nitpicking. So if you talk about a game that's made for VR, we're between Horizon and Humanity. However, Humanity is also playable. I played it not in a non-VR way. I didn't even know it was a VR game. I played it normally. I wish I had played it VR because that game was clearly made for that. But I'm going to give my vote to Humanity, even though I don't think it will win. And I don't even think it deserves to win because of what I just said. I played it non-VR, so I didn't even know that it was a VR game. I think the game that might win it is between Horizon and Gran Turismo. I'm gonna say that Gran Turismo is gonna win because I've heard nothing but good things about that game. I don't think enough people played Horizon to make it. I don't know, to make it here. But I'm gonna give it to Humanity, because Humanity is the biggest game that got most snubbed this year. I'm not gonna get into it here. If you're more interested in more about that, go to my channel, see the review there. Go to the the No Name Crew live over there on Twitch. We talk about that over there. Check us out in the awards, December 12th. We're gonna talk more about that there. But I think Humanity just got completely snubbed, completely looked over by so many people this year, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. I think Humanity is one of the best puzzle games ever, let alone this year, ever. And more people need to play this. So that's the only reason why I'm voting for that in this category. It wasn't even nominated for any other category. Best mobile game, I'm not going to vote on that. I don't play mobile games. Best debut indie game, we got Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, Viewfinder. All right, so this is tough. This is very, very tough. The only one I have no knowledge about is Pizza Tower. I know people absolutely loved Dredge. Venba, I'm only recently hearing about it, but people are playing this and crying, and it has a message, you know, immigration, I think it is, and all that stuff. So I think that really carries a lot of weight in these types of nominations and competitions. So awards, I should say. Viewfinder, if it was for me, I'd probably vote Viewfinder because of how creative it is. But I'm gonna give it to Cocoon because this is a masterclass in game design, man. Like, you guys gotta play this. I can't even describe to you what type of game mechanics this game has, because you have to play it to understand it. But it's the same game designer that designed the gameplay in Limbo and Inside, two of the best indie games of all time, two of my favorite games of all time. And he did it again here, man. Gameplay, we're talking about gameplay and level design and all that stuff. There's nothing like this game here right here. So yeah, Cocoon. Best independent game, which is, okay, this is one of the issues with these awards. Best debut indie game, that's one thing. But then we have best independent game. Why do they change the terminology there? If you know, you know. But this is very controversial. Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, Viewfinder. Here is one of those categories where it's such a shame that something like Humanity isn't nominated. Humanity is an indie game in every sense of the word. And it's one of the best indies of all time, in my opinion, let alone this year. But then we have a game, I believe it's Dave the Diver, which the creator himself said, this is not an independent game. The studio is not an independent studio. But of course, that is not black and white, right? It's not that simple. Though I know that people were outraged because of that. But then if we're gonna be very specific on what an independent game is, Kojima Studios, that's an independent studio. Would we put Death Stranding in this category? Baldur's Gate 3 this year, that's an independent studio. But will we put Baldur's Gate 3 with the likes of Dredge and Dave the Diver? Like, do they feel like they're in the same category? So obviously, you know, I don't think this is easy to classify these games. Long story short, though, I'm gonna vote for Cocoon once again for the reason that I said. But I think the game is gonna win My prediction is Sea of Stars. The people absolutely love Sea of Stars for so many reasons, and deservedly so. That game is great. So actually, but you know what? Actually, no. I'm a vote for Sea of Stars because masterclass in game design, but Sea of Stars is a more complete game. Music, world, graphics, story, all of that stuff. So I'm gonna give it to Sea of Stars, and I think that's gonna win. Best community support. I'm not even get into that for various reasons. Best ongoing. Not getting into that either. Best games for impact. All right, so this is a game that I haven't played hardly any of these games. I've only played actually the Chia, which is a great game. But I think for the reasons that I said earlier, I think Venba is going to be the one that's going to win, especially the things that we're going through nowadays in society. I think because of the themes in that one, I think that one's going to win. Innovation and accessibility. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge of this. I know Sony always does it, the incredible options and all that stuff, but I don't have anything to compare it to. So because of that, I'm just going to abstain here as well. But good thing that this is something that's becoming more and more of a thing over time. Best performance. This is tough. So we got Ben Starr, Final Fantasy 16, Cameron Monaghan from Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Idris Elba, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Melanie Liburd, Alan Wake 2, Neil Newborn, Baldur's Gate 3, and Yuri Lowenthal, Marvel Spider-Man 2. So to me, the performance for Peter Parker in Spider-Man 2, Marvel Spider-Man 2, incredible. Especially the fact that, without getting into spoilers, he plays, let's just say different emotions, all right, in that game. I think that's very deservedly so. To be quite honest, this is no disrespect to her. I don't think Melanie Liburd did, like, Alan Wake 2 has some of the best voice acting that I've ever heard in video games. And it's all around. The entire cast is incredible. And out of that entire cast that is incredible, I think she is the weakest link. She's not a bad actress. She didn't do a bad job, but I think she's the weakest link out of that cast. So the fact that Alan Wake 2 got her as a nomination and not anybody else, that's a little bit strange to me. So that's why I'm not voting for her. I think hands down, Idris Elba is going to be the one that's going to win. It's the popularity vote. I think that's the main reason. All right, so best audio design: Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4. Again, this is something that anybody here would deserve to win it, you know, for various reasons. I'm going to give it to Alan Wake 2. I think the sound design in this game is incredible. And everything about it, the environments, the voice acting, the music, the everything about sound in this game is incredible. I think Alan Wake 2 definitely deserves this category. Best score in music, again, Alan Wake 2. I'm not going to read these names, to be honest, because I don't know how to pronounce all of them. So I'm just going to say Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. All right, so the music for Tears of the Kingdom, I think it's because it's so minimal, it's easy to go unnoticed, but it's very, very, very well done. Obviously, game designed around sound, like Hi-Fi Rush, awesome. However, there are no tracks in that game that stand out to me. I think if you had told me it's the same song in every single level, I'd believe you right now. Like, I can't really distinguish the music. I haven't really played Baldur's Gate 3, so I can't speak on that, but I haven't heard a lot about the music. Final Fantasy 16, I think, is the winner here. Hands down, the best music. Like, that's the best thing about that game, as it usually is around, in Final Fantasy games. So I think this one deserves to win. The music is so good in Final Fantasy 16 that I literally stopped at one point in the game. Just because the music in that level was so incredible, I just stopped playing and I just listened to the song play out until I noticed that it looped again, and then I started playing again. That's how good the music in that game is. My heart wants to give it to Alan Wake 2. You know, though they compose original songs for each level, they're fully sung and fully sung and all that stuff. Like, it's very, very well done. However, there's not one particular song, again, that I can think about when I think about that game, but there are multiple songs that I think about when I think Final Fantasy 16. So I'm gonna give it to Final Fantasy 16. As much as I didn't enjoy that game, the music is incredible. Best art direction, we got Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom looks incredible. It's the same exact art design as Breath of the Wild, so I don't think it deserves it because of that. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, it has a lot of details. This game is beautiful. And the world design of the colors and the characters, all of it is beautiful. Like, it deserves this nomination. However, you have to pay attention to those details. When you play it without paying attention to those details, I don't think you notice them, and it's not much different from the other 2D Marios that we've had in the previous years. I think Lies of P is also nicely designed, but it's too similar to Bloodborne. You know, it's pretty much just copying that with his own touch. Hi-Fi Rush, I think, is incredible, obviously, when it comes to art direction. Like the fact that there's barely any noticeable difference between the cinematics and the gameplay. Like it just looks so beautiful. But my vote is going to be for Alan Wake 2. I think at this point in the game, nobody is doing art direction and other things better than Remedy. Like these people get it, man. These people get it. You just have to play the intro to this game and see the art, the title screen, the title treatment to understand what I'm talking about. Like this game, art direction wise, is incredible, and it talks about artistic design and animation. The animation for these characters, the facial animations, incomparable. Like there's no other game that's doing it on this level. So definitely Alan Wake 2. Best narrative, this is gonna be tough. I think there's gonna be a clear winner. It's not gonna be my vote though. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, Marvel Spider-Man 2. I think Marvel Spider-Man 2 was a mess, narratively speaking. I know I'm in the minority there. Final Fantasy 16, good, not great. I'm not going to give my opinion on Cyberpunk 2077. I think the clear winner is going to be Baldur's Gate 3 for obvious reasons, and deservedly so. Okay, outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. That's Baldur's Gate 3, 100%, without even having played it. Like everything that I know about this game, that's what this game is. My vote is going to be Alan Wake 2, however. It's just, this is the best story that Remedy has done so far. The way they tell that story, the way the characters are written, the dialogue, like every single thing. When you think about storytelling and narrative development in a game, in my mind, Alan Wake 2 does it best. Like there's nothing that compares to what they're doing. So I think it's going to be, I want it to be Alan Wake 2. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win it. Best game direction, again, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom. I've already said enough about these games. I think that because Baldur's Gate 3 has so many possible story threads, because you're making decisions and all of that, I think that takes much more effort to make it work. That maybe Baldur's Gate 3 might pull out, but it says right here, outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. When you're talking about creative vision and innovation, Alan Wake 2, man. Like there's nothing like Alan Wake 2 in the gaming industry right now. There's nothing like this game. This game deserves all of the flowers. So Alan Wake 2 is my vote. Game of the year. All right, so this is the last one. Game of the year, we go Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. If I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm happy that Starfield and Final Fantasy 16 weren't nominated in this category. I don't think they deserve it. But I also don't think Marvel Spider-Man 2 deserves it. I have my issues with Resident Evil 4 being a remake and it being Game of the Year. It can be in its own category. It can be nominated for other things. Game of the Year, especially in a game that's so packed as this year was, and you give it to a game that's, 20 years old, and it's essentially the same game, but with better graphics, that I have an issue with that. Tears of the Kingdom, everybody thought it was going to be, hands down, it was Tears to lose. I don't think that's the case anymore. But it is between Tears and Baldur's Gate. Super Mario Bros. Wonder, nice nod. I don't think it's deserving in Game of the Year. My heart is Alan Wake 2, which is I'm going to vote for Alan Wake 2 here. That's the game that I want to win. That's the game that I absolutely think deserves Game of the Year for so many reasons. You're talking about, read this definition, a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. So we're saying performance, we're saying graphics, we're saying music, narrative, storytelling, gameplay, level design, art direction, game direction, and the performances themselves. When I said performance, I mean technical performance, but the performances themselves, the voice acting. When you think about every single category, I think Alan Wake 2 excels in every one of those categories. The only one that I have issues with, maybe, I had a few performance issues here and there, but everything else is top tier. But I think the same could be said about Baldur's Gate 3. And I think people will say the same thing about Baldur's Gate 3. And Baldur's Gate 3 has been more popular than Alan Wake 2. So I think the winner this year for Game of the Year is going to be Baldur's Gate 3. People are going to be surprised that it wasn't Tears of the Kingdom. But I think it's Baldur's Gate 3. But my heart and my vote is 100% going for Alan Wake 2. I hope Alan Wake 2 wins in these other categories if it doesn't win Game of the Year. So that way it gets its flowers, the flowers that it deserves. I think it should take over the awards this year, except for Game of the Year, which I think is going to go to Baldur's Gate 3. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It says here, keep going to see what happens. Don't know what happens there. So these have been my votes then for the 2023 Game Awards. If you like this video, remember to like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What's your game of the year? That's what I want to know. What's your game of the year and why? And what do you think about my votes that I showed you guys here? So thanks for watching. Until next time.